Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Nancy Noni and I'm your girl Noni. Guys, if you're new to this channel, you're welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by this channel. I love you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the community. Today I bring another exciting tutorial on how to make a beautiful gathered dress with yoke, and I'll be using this beautiful lace fabric for the yoke. Now this is my basic bodice block, okay? Now, for my returning subscribers, I hope you know I love you so much. Thank you for joining us once more. Now, let us continue. Now, this is the half length for this project, and I have marked or drafted my basic bodies. Okay, so I have my chest line, my bust point, and the half length. Okay, I've drafted the armhole, I've added my side seam allowances and even the dart allowance. So this is the neckline. Now for the back neckline, because I'm drafting the back and the front at the same time. For the back neckline, the neck depth I have 1 inch, and for the neck depth for the front I have 3.5 inches. Now I've taken half inch upwards, okay, and that would be for the seam allowance because I want to use a bias to pipe the neckline. Now the width for the neckline is 3.5. I also added my half inch allowance to the neckline. Now to my half length, I've added 1 inch for that, then 2 inches for my side seam allowance, both for the upper for the bust part point and on the half length. Okay, I've drafted my armhole, the front armhole and the back armhole. So this other one is the back armhole. It's not the same as the front. As we all know, the front armhole is deeper than the back. Now in another tutorial, I'll be showing us extensively how to draft a basic bodice. Okay, I want to do a detailed illustration on how to make a basic bodice because all patterns, simple and complex, they all originate from the basic bodice. So we need to have a deep knowledge on how to make a basic bodice to understand some of these patterns. Right. Okay, so for my yoke, I'm going up by 1.5 inches from the chest line. Okay, I'm going up from 1.5 inches. You can do 2 inches depending on what you prefer. But for my yoke, I'm coming up from the chest line by 1.5 inches. And we know the formula for deriving the chest line is to divide the bust measurement by 6 plus 1.5 or 2 inches. All right, so from that point, it's my yoke. Okay, from the 1.5 inches above the chest line is my yoke. That will be the part I'll be using the lace for. Now, because this upper part is going to be like a sleeveless, so from the shoulder line, I'll come in by 1 inch, just so that we don't have the sleeve gaping out or falling off from the shoulder. So whenever you're making a sleeveless pattern, just coming from the main shoulder line by 1 inch. So I'm redrafting my armhole. Now, assuming I want the same armhole for the front and back, this would be my armhole. This would be my new armhole. Remember, we came in by 1 inch from the shoulder point. Okay, so this will be the new armhole. That's if you're making the front and the back armhole the same. Now if you're a newbie, you might want to just stick to this till you start getting the hang of having different armhole for the front and the back. Now if you would want to shaping it, you don't want the armhole to be deeper, like that there are times you make your armhole deep and to start showing your armpits. Okay, so you can now do this second line that I just did now. Okay, so this will be what I'll be going with. I don't want the armhole to get deeper like that of a singlet. Okay, this is a gown, so I don't want to use that armhole. So from the 1.1 inch, I just marked it straight to the so to the initial armhole. Okay, so depending on what you want, you could do the first line, the second, or even the middle line. I don't want you to get confused, but just know that anything you do is fine depending on what you want to show. All right, so what I did now is to cut this out. Now I will need half inch, okay, to join the upper part and even the lower part. So I'm marking that this piece will be cut out, so I'm marking half inch up, half inch down, so that by the time we place on our lace fabric, we will know to add our allowances according. Okay, so I'll start cutting out. Right, so my armhole for the front and the back, they are not the same. Okay, so I did some minor adjustments. So this one I'm following now is the back armhole. So we're cutting the back first because we need to place our pattern on the back fabric first. Then afterwards, we now start trimming the neckline for the front and the armhole for the back before we now place on our fabric to cut the front. Okay, so what I'm cutting now is the front, the back neckline. Sorry, the back neckline. Okay, and I've already cut the back armhole. All right, so from that 1 inch I just took it straight to where we have the normal armhole, but the front one is a bit inward. Now I'll cut off the yoke. You know the part I marked, that is XX line. Okay, that is the yoke, the line for the yoke. So I'll cut it out, then go place on my fabric and show us how to cut. Okay, so I've placed it on my lace and I've added 1.5 inches for the zip allowance, half inch the neck depth and the shoulder point, 1.5 inches for the zip allowance, half inch the lower part. Okay, and that is it for the back. Remember, my fabric was folded into two, so this is it into two. I have two pieces for the back. Now cut the pattern for the front. Now just cut through the neck depth and then the front armhole. So cutting through the neck depth. Now when I place on my fabric, I'm not going to be adding any allowances to the neck depth or the neck width because I've added all the allowances on the pattern. So I'll just add to the shoulder and to the lower part of the yoke. Then I'll cut through for the front armhole. Remember, I always say the front armhole and the back armhole, they are not the same. Okay, so now place on my fabric and cut accordingly. Now remember that your fabric would be on fold. Okay, you place your fabric on fold, then pin it down. Please, whenever you're placing a pattern on a fabric, try to use a pin to pin it down because it would move around. Okay, just to hold it in place. Now adding half inch to the lower part, as you can see, half inch. Then to the upper part, I'm just cutting exactly the same thing. Now look at what I did here. My pattern is moving, although I added one pin, so I add another pin to hold the pattern down to the fabric. Okay, you need to do this just so that your pattern doesn't move around, then start giving you false measurements, and it would affect the fittings of your dress. All right, so make sure you pin properly. Now I'm cutting through the neck depth and the neck width, and I am not adding any any seam allowance because I already added the seam allowance to my pattern. But to the shoulder point, the shoulder line, I'll add half inch to join the shoulder, as you can see. All right, then I'll cut through to the armhole like so. And that is it. Okay, so the yoke for the front and the back is ready. All right, so we'll cut the lower part. Okay, the part that doesn't have the yoke, it's still the upper bodies, but this is the yoke and this will be the lower part for the upper part. I hope you don't get confused. All right, so this is it. Remember, we'll cut the back first, so I'll open up my fabric, place my pattern on it and add the seam allowances I need. Now for the upper bodies, okay, the other part, I've added half inch to this upper part, the 1.5 inches for zip allowance. Okay, so these are the only allowances I'm adding to the back. 1.5 inches to join this part to the yoke, sorry, half inch to join this part of the yoke, then 1.5 inches zip allowance, and that is all. Okay, so I'll notch the that and also cut through my zip allowance. Okay, take out my pattern, then notch the zip allowance. Okay, so this is it for the front. That's it for the back. Okay, now we'll cut for the front armhole. Okay, this is the front armhole, so we'll trim it off, then place on your fabric and just add your allowance to the upper part. Okay, it doesn't need any zip allowance in front. Right, so just fold your fabric, place accordingly. All right, okay, so I've added half inch to the upper part, so that's the only allowance I'll be needing. So I'll just cut it out. Now if you're watching till now, I love you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the support you've shown me on this channel. I really do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your support. Now that we're done with the upper part, we want to cut the flare at the upper part. Okay, the part that would serve as the sleeve is in form of a cold shoulder sleeve. Okay, so what you would do is to get the round shoulder, okay, or the shoulder circumference, the round shoulder measurement of your client, and divide it by 6.28. I'm trying to write this on the table, but my chalk is not visible enough. So I'll say it so that I would understand. All right, so the round shoulder divided by 6.28. Okay, so I'll just fold my fabric into four, just like the way we cut our peplum. Okay, so the length is 25, the width is 25, the length is also 25. Okay, so this is as a result of what I got by dividing my shoulder circumference by 6.28. So whatever you get, let's say for example you get 5 inches from dividing your shoulder by 6.28, just add this length you want for this yoke, or sorry, this is not a yoke, this is the cold shoulder part of this dress. Okay, the upper part that ruffles there. So for me, I'll do about 5 inches. Okay, so just include your seam allowance for the up and the down part. All right, so I folded into four. All right, you fold into two folds first, then into another two folds. Now whatever you get from dividing your shoulder, I don't know what your shoulder circumference is, so but when I did mine I got 6 inches. Okay, for this client, so I'm marking 6 inches all the way round. Okay, 6 inches from the top, as you can see, so 6 inches all the way round. Okay, so I don't know what yours is. Please make sure you work with your own accurate measurement to get a perfect fit. Okay, so I'll connect just like we do for our peplum. Now for the length of this, I'm marking 6 inches. 6 inches is enough. Okay, I want 5 inches. Okay, then half inch to use the lining to turn the lower part, then half inch to join it to the bodies of this dress. So that's 6 inches. All right, so this is it. You want to make sure that your fold would accommodate whatever you have by dividing your round shoulder by 6.28 and 6 inches for the lower part. Okay, so your own might not be 6 inches, might do 6 7 depending on what you want. Okay, so this is what I am working with, and I hope that whatever you do works for you. All right, so I'll cut this out. Okay, cut this out, then cut the lower part. Okay, so this is it. When you open it up, so I'll just open one part up. I'll slash through one part. So when I open, this is what I have. Okay, so I'll go cut my lining exactly the same way. Use the lining to turn the lower part of this uh, peplum. Okay, just maybe call it a flounce. This is the flounce that's at the shoulder area. Okay, so this is how we cut the flounce at the shoulder area. All right, so this is my remaining fabric. This is what I have left, and I'll be using this to cut the gathered part of this dress. That's the lower part of the dress. Okay, so for the gathered part of your dress, you multiply your waist measurements by 3 inches. Okay, so I'm folding my own into two, because by the time the waist for this client divided by, sorry, multiplied by 3 wouldn't be enough. So I'm folding this into two. The one I cut, I'll join it before I gather. Okay, so the length here is enough for me, for from the half length to where she wants the dress length to be. Okay, so I'll just cut this into two. As I've already folded into two, I'll just get my scissors and open it up. Okay, so I'll just make sure everything is properly aligned. So I'll just open up this part, then I'll have two pieces. So I'll go and join these two pieces together. Okay, by the time I join these two pieces, it will give me the waist measurement multiplied by 3 inches. So I'll just go join it together and gather it to her waist measurement, including the zip allowance. All right, so I've gone to my sewing machine and I've made some stitches. I'll just show us what I've done here. Now this is the yoke. Okay, you can see the inside. I've piped it with my bias. I've piped the neckline with the bias. Now what I've done is I've already cut my lining for the bodice. Okay, So I place the yoke in between the lining and the fabric. As you can see, the yoke is in between the lining and the fabric. You can see the yoke is in between the lining and the fabric. Then I'll stitch. Remember, I added half inch sewing allowance, so I'll stitch by that half inch we use, that half inch seam allowance we give. So I'll stitch it by half inch, then stitch half inch all round, okay, on the two sides, because I want to get a clean finish when I turn out. So I would notch it, then pull it out. I've already notched. So when I pull it out, this is what we have. Okay, so pull it out and iron properly. This is what you will get. So you can see the yoke there, and this is the other part of the back pattern. You can see the two sides. Okay, so you can see the yoke sitting pretty inside it. So when the time you turn into the back, everything is cleanly finished. So the same thing for the front. The yoke is in between the lining and the fabric. Then you stitch by half inch. Then I notched it. Also sewed the both sides, the two sides. Okay, so when I pull it out, you can see my yoke. Beautiful. So you pull everything out and make sure that you iron it properly. Okay, so this is it. So you can see I've used my bias to tape the neckline. Now when I turn to the inside of my dress, everywhere is clearly finished. You can see, so beautiful. You're not going to be seeing where you attach the yoke to the dress and all those unprofessional looks. So now what I'll do is to go and pipe the armhole with the bias strip. Okay, then sew the darts together. I'll do the same thing to the back, pipe the armhole with bias and sew the darts. All right, now this is the lower part. This is the lower part. So I've gone to overlock the edges. You can see I overlocked it, then I gathered it all to have waist measurement. So you can see it's overlocked. You want to make sure you overlock your edges so that it doesn't frill. You can see it's properly overlocked, and I've gathered the dress. Okay, I've gathered the fabric to have to the client's waist measurement. Now this is my lining. Okay, I've also overlocked the edges of my lining, as you can see, so that everything will turn out very neat and professional. All right, so to the flounce at the shoulder area, or at for the cold shoulder part, okay, the flounce around that area. So like I said, I've gone ahead to cut my lining, and I've used the lining to turn the lower part. Okay, then stitch the upper part to the fabric, then use my overlocker to overlock the edges or weave the edges. It's called weaving in this part of the country. I'm in Nigeria, so it's called weaving here. All right, so after doing that, okay, so what I've done is to go ahead to to turn with my bias. You can see the armhole. Okay, so I've gone to tape the armhole with my bias. I've sewn in my darts. Okay, you can see the darts. I've sewn in the darts. Then I've gone ahead to join the sides, the front and the back. Okay, I've joined the sides, leaving open just the zip allowance. So you can see I've joined the sides. Okay, so this is how it looks. This is what it looks like. The armhole is cleanly finished. Then I place the front on the back and took in my measurements. Okay, so I've closed the side. Now I've already pinned the flounce to it. Okay, so I'll just show us what to do. So this is the flounce. You want to notch the center point. Okay, fold the flounce into two and notch the midpoint. Then you also fold your front bodies into two and use a chalk to mark the midpoint. I'm using a chalk, I hope you can see, to mark the midpoint of the front pattern, okay, or the front bodies. So I'll match the notched part, okay, the midpoint of the flounce on the midpoint of the front pattern, okay, then use my pin to hold it down right there. Okay, so what I'll do is now pin the flounce, okay, round to till I get to the armhole. Okay, so this is the armhole. Okay, so I'll pin it till I get to the armhole. Just pin it straight up. You're not gathering anything. Just pin it straight till you get to the armhole. Okay, so you skip it, then take the end of the flounce to the back. Okay, to where you have the zip allowance. So I'm marking my zip allowance with a chalk there. So that's it. So what I'll do is to just place it. Remember now, what you do is the right side of your flank will be facing the right side of your bodies, okay? So that's the zip allowance. So if you fold it in, this is what you have. So I'll just place the flounce there and pin it, okay? So you want to make sure that you're pinning at half inch underneath your yoke, so that by the time you sew with half inch, it will just match up with the yoke. Okay, so the same thing to that part. So the excess will now be around the armhole. Okay, so that is where your hands will pass through. So this is what I've done. I'll pin till I get to the armhole, then leave the excess. So that's where the hands will pass through. The same thing to this other side. Okay, pin till you get there, then skip the armhole till you now place the remaining parts on the zip allowance and pin. So I'll just go to my machine and sew it down. Okay, make sure you're sewing at half inch underneath. You're placing it on half inch underneath the yoke. Okay, now for the part that is where the arm will be, just fold it and just tip it in. Okay, remember we already overlocked the edge, so just fold it in and sew it down. All right, so now we'll get the gathered parts for the lower part, then we'll feed it through the half length. Okay, so feed it through the half length. So I've sewn the gathered parts to it, you can see. So after sewing this, you get your lining. Okay, then you can see my stitches for the upper for the flounce. Okay, so when I open it up, it looks like this, super beautiful. So this should form the cold shoulder. Okay, so you can see that point, very clean. So now the lining, you use the lining to turn the gathered part. Okay, so make sure that the right side of the lining is facing the right side, is facing the parts that you gathered. So you just split the lining round the waistline just to cover up your stitches. Okay, that way you have a very clean finish. So this is just it. You can see, super beautiful. So you just fold it back the way it's supposed to be, then close up from your half length, come down by 7 inches, then close it up, insert your zipper, and that would be the end of it. You get a very beautiful outfit. Okay, so this is it. Like I said, from your half length, just come down by 7 inches, then close it with the zip allowance you left. So you just struck that 7 inches point. Okay, then turn it together like this and join. So just sew from that 7 inches. You know, remember we left 1.5 inches for zip allowance. Okay, we already use half inch to turn the lining. Okay, so just close it up, sew and attach your zip, and that is it. So if you found this video helpful, give us a thumbs up, like, share this video. Please watch the ads on my videos. Thank you. Please, bye.